Hey, hi friends. I think the live is pulling up, so I'm just gonna give it a couple minutes to just verify everyone's there and also get it pulled up on my phone here. Let me turn my volume down real quick. I hope everyone is having a great Tuesday. Okay, there we are. And looks like I see Heather, and hello, Jennifer. Awesome to see you guys. Okay, all right, so we are going to do some rainbow stamping today. We have pretty much demoed most of our new release so far, so I thought that I would take it back to some favorites that were released last year. And I feel like I've seen a lot of comments, maybe more so in Craft Hour than anything else, but wanting to see our pop-out stamps at work. So I thought I would share some rainbow stamping with the pop-out diagonal stripes stamp. So that is what we're going to focus on today. Looks like we have a good amount of people on, and my lovely cousin Jamie is here. Hi, Jamie. Thanks for joining. Welcome, Malvina and Anne and Rhonda, Anita, Laurel and Julie, Paper and Time, Myra and Sue. Hi, guys. Thanks for joining me today. I'm hoping my internet connection kind of settles in. It looks fine on Zoom, but I'm noticing on YouTube it's a little fuzzy, but here's hoping it settles in here in a minute. Oh, and welcome, Laurel, for your first time. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so before I get this camera flipped around and we get going, of course, especially for people that are new, we give away a $15 gift card code to our shop at the end of every live. So there's two ways that you can, multiple ways you can win actually, but two ways. Hit the arrow button that says share on it underneath the video and share it to your Facebook page with a friend, or you can share it in a group as long as they allow it. And then just come here and let us know in the comments that you shared. And then just comment and chat with us and hang out with us. Let us know if you have any questions. If I miss comments, which I know I miss a lot of them as I am looking at my project and working, Heather does her best to catch the things that I miss, which I miss a lot. I know I do. So, but at the end of the live, Heather, who's moderating today, will pick a winner to win a $15 gift card code. So, okay, looks like we're good. Hi, Daniel. Hi, Cindy and Dee. Okay, we are good. I am going to put my phone over here really quick, and we are going to switch the camera around and get going. Okay, give me just a sec to get this all turned around. Okay, we've got the camera switched over, and I am just going to make sure that it all switches over fine on YouTube as well. Crafting Sunshine, I haven't even started yet. We are just getting going, so you haven't missed a thing. Okay, looks good on the switch over. Okay, so sorry, that was probably loud. Okay, today we are going to use the Pop Out Diagonal Stripes stamp set. And we are going to stamp it in rainbow colors using our Misty tool. You can use any stamping tool that you have for this. So our pop-out stamps are cling rubber. So you want to make sure you go ahead and take your either your foam, your mouse pad, or your paper stack out of the Misty, because there's not enough room for cling stamps with that in there. Okay, and so when I'm using these pop-out stamps, I like to trim my cardstock. So this is just an 8.5 an 11 sheet of white cardstock, just cut in half down the middle, but I guess not long ways, short ways. Because I like to still be able to use my magnets, but these are quite large stamps, of course. So I like to put my magnet at the top and the bottom, and then arrange my stamp right in the middle. So I leave that plastic grid on at first. Oh, I'm glad you guys have, a lot of you have took advantage of our essential sale over the weekend. That's really fun. They are great pieces for that. And oh, I am going to mention, my dog, Sadie, has been sick for the past 2 days, and I was very worried about her. But last night she perked up and started eating again. And so she is extra sassy today. She's, I feel like, making up for a little bit of lost time. So she's a little barky and a little demanding. So here's hoping she doesn't bark too much during our live. Okay, so get your stripes lined up on to the paper you're going to stamp them to. And then I just very gently start working up that plastic layer to keep them in place, because I want this to be the base line before I start pulling pieces away. Another thing, if you're having a hard time, if you feel like your stripes aren't lining up perfectly, you just tap them a little bit. It helps put them right back into place. And that's why we kept this great frame piece around it. I'm going to pull that frame off once I have it on the MISTI window, but it's nice to have it there for this initial setup. Thank you. Yes, I'm super glad that my dog is feeling much better. I was very worried about her because she's very old, and so I was definitely worried that we were losing her, but so far, for now, it seems like she's back to her normal self, which I'm very thankful for. Okay, so this gets all of the stripes over here onto your window. I am going to go ahead and take this off. Now, it's fine that that little piece came off. Honest truth, I'll still stamp them, but I think in the end they get cut off, because when I go to trim this down to a panel for an A2 card, they're kind of inconsequential anyway. But you would want to leave them on there if you were using this for your full 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 panel. But for me, I'm going to trim it down so they're a tad inconsequential there. Okay, so I have all of this lined up. Okay, so first things first, I gotta grab my guide, so give me a second. Okay, so we are going to start removing some of these pieces. Now you'll see me, I will flip this back and forth a few times, because I want to make sure that I'm starting it out correctly. So I want to start it out with the pink tone up here, and I'm going to go in rainbow order, of course. Like I mentioned, these 2 little pieces are going to technically be trimmed off, but I will keep them there just for show purposes. Okay, so we've got pink, which is going to be the first color I reach for, which technically I'm going to use Coral Reef. Of course I am. So we've got pink, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. So I know to this layer, I can pull them all off. And you can take them out just a few at a time, which might be the better way to do it. But what I'm going to say is put them off to the side in order, so that it's easy to reach for them again. Of course that happened. Okay, that might just not work perfectly. That is when keeping that outer layer would probably be better, but you know what it is, what it is. We're gonna go with it. Okay, so then we're gonna count again. And then I promise after you do the initial setup, this is super easy to do the rest of the colors, because you're going to just line stamps back up basically. So we have pink here, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. So this next one here is pink. So we are going to take off all of these up to that last pink layer. And like I mentioned, take them off, but put them aside in order, leaving a little space for where this one goes. And then I think for the rest of these just come off because they are not pink. Okay, so we have our initial setup ready. That's the longest part, is getting that initial piece ready. Okay, so now we're just gonna go ahead and start creating a rainbow. Keep in mind, this one came off, so it might not be correct, but that's okay. Like I said, we're gonna trim it off. Actually, I might just leave this one off because it's inconsequential. Okay, so let's go ahead and ink these up. Now, you could also leave that frame piece on to help guide these and keep them in place as well. Completely up to you. I did that for a while and then just kind of felt like it got in the way a little bit. So totally up to you how you do it. Now, I have not been keeping an eye on comments at all because that was a little bit of a process to get that all set up. So I probably missed some things. So just let me know or re-ask your question if Heather didn't catch it. Okay, so I am going to stamp Coral Reef twice. I did not get a very good impression on this one up here, but I think that's just my fault. I did not push down really at all up there. Dee, that's funny. I think it's funny that your dog thought she was there with you. Oh goodness. Dual barking dogs. Okay, so we have our first set of stripes. And I am going to go ahead and wipe these down, but you don't want to remove them yet. Remember, these are your guides for, and you know what, I just realized I am going to have to set this whole piece back up, which is where keeping the frame in place would have been better, but that's okay. We'll just do this real quick because I accidentally knocked off that little tiny piece. And so this is how you just rectify that real quick. Just build it back up. And what I'm doing is I'm lining up, there's little notches where the cut apart pieces are. And that's how I know where each piece lines up. And so that's how I know that this is the next red piece that has to stay. So now I can take those all back off. I know that that was a little bit of extra work, but if you ever find yourself where you accidentally pull one off or knock one out of place, that is an easy way to get it back where you need it to go. So all I'm doing, guys, is I'm lining up the little perforations where the stamps lined up when they did the cuts at the manufacturer. So that is all I'm doing, is just lining them up. And so then we have our next layer, and this one we are going to stamp in Candy Apple. So that is one of our darker shades of red. So Jackie, when I stamped with this stamp set for the first time, I actually did keep that outer frame on it just to help me, because it's, you know, it's a little bit of a learning process to stamp with all of these stamps that are cut apart. So I did use the frame when I first started stamping with this, but know that sometimes ink does get onto that frame. So you might sometimes get a little bit of ink around your edges. And So I just kind of try to avoid that now. Now that I'm a little bit more familiar with how these stamps work, I feel a little bit more comfortable not using the frame, but I certainly did use them at first. And so I would suggest trying it out and then just seeing what works best for you. Maybe you feel like it just gets in the way or it's a little too fumbly. I think I started to feel like it was a little bit too fumbly. So totally up to you though. And you can keep using the frame forever or not use it at all. 100% up to you. Okay, so there is our red stripes. Dee, I have not actually ever re-inked. Crap, I did it again. Don't be heavy-handed when you're wiping your stripes down, because I'm going to have to do that process all over again. Of course, this would happen live, right, guys? Okay, so let's line these all back up. Okay, so we make sure that that's back in its same spot. Did all of that basically to just remove it, but that's okay because that's going to be our next color. So let's take these all back off, stay there. And I need to be a little bit lighter handed this time when I am cleaning it next. Okay, so let's go ahead and line up the next stripe, just lining it up with those perforations. I am just using a damp microfiber towel to wipe my stamps with. I just get them on Amazon. Okay. Okay, so we have our next layer set up, and this time we are going to ink it up in Clementine. These are my go-to shades when I am wanting to do rainbow stamping. I love the vibrancy of them, and I think they just kind of make a perfect rainbow. So as as we go through all of the stamping here, and Heather links up the inks, know that these are pretty much always the colors I reach for when I'm creating rainbows. All right, got our next set here. And these stamps can absolutely be inked up with both our ink cubes and our full-size ink pads. So this works with all and any kinds of inks. I am not going to be doing this today, but one of the really cool parts about these pop-out stamps is that you can also do different medias. So you can stamp a few of the layers, and then you can also heat emboss a layer or two or whatever you want. You can use a metallic ink or, lots of different options there. Okay, so there is our Clementine. Okay, I am going to be gentle this time and not get my stamp out of alignment. Perfect. There we go. I wasn't like Rocky meets Leah finally cleaning these ones up. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and line up the next layers. Yes, it does show I'm human, which is, of course I'm human. But it just goes to show, like, making little mistakes like that and having to backtrack just goes to show that, like, I make lots of mistakes when I'm crafting. I absolutely do. So we all do. It's not a perfect craft. So, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be. Okay. We've got our next set of stripes. Lined up, and we are going to ink them up in Sunshine. I do think that, if I'm being completely honest with you, I get a little nervous using the pop-out stamps live, not because they aren't amazing, just because I know that, like, I do make little mistakes here and there. So I think I'm sometimes a little nervous using them, but I think it's going fairly well, other than the couple of times I had to reline up my stripes. I'm glad you guys are loving them. I think that these are such innovative and versatile stamps, and they really make creating backgrounds nice and fun. Sunshine doesn't even need to be inked up again because it's just so bright, and pretty much always gives really great coverage. Okay, be gentle. The word, whenever I'm cleaning the stamps off, is gentle, Leah. Be gentle. Kind of like what you tell kids. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, we've only got a few more layers to line up here. So we are doing well. And we are well on our way to having a really fun rainbow card. And if you have just jumped in or are wondering what I'm doing, I am using some of our pop-out stamps to stamp a background, and I am lining each of these up with the little perforations that are created when the pop-out feature is done in the manufacturing process. I don't really have to do this little guy, but let's just do it. Okay, the next color on the docket is key lime. Oh, thank you, Daniel. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah, exactly. Like learn from, and you guys can definitely learn from my mistakes. Like don't be Thor when you are cleaning off your stripes. All right, that little guy, like I said, he's gonna be cut off. I don't even know why I put it on there. Okay. Jackie, that's a good viewpoint too. Like by me making mistakes and you seeing me make the mistakes and figuring out how to rectify them and save the piece, it shows you guys how to do the same. So I agree, that's a good viewpoint too. And thankfully I haven't just like totally obliterated this, and basically I haven't needed to start over, which I think I have done that a couple of times, and that was all mostly due to user error. Cindy, I'm glad you're getting to see this. Hopefully this gives you some tips for using your pop-out stamps. I love, love, love the chevron. It is one of my favorites. I reach for it a lot. I thought about reaching for it today, but I decided to go with these stripes, which I don't think we have demoed as often. We have definitely demoed the chevrons quite a few times. So I chose to go with where am I at here? Oh, right there. Lost my train of thought for a minute where my stamps were. They do kind of look like fruit stripes, kind of like fruit stripes gum, almost. That dates me, doesn't it? Okay. We've just got 2 layers left to stamp. So for these 2, we are going to use aquamarine. Just want to catch up a little bit on comments. Oh gosh, that's funny, Heather. Yeah, good idea. Just make all the mistakes and just say you did it on purpose, just to help people work through any mistakes they might make. That's exactly it. Just kidding. Yeah, we definitely all make mistakes and we figure it out. I know. That gum, man, I think that was from like early childhood for me. So that's definitely back in the day. And I think I used to love it. And now that I think about it, I think it's actually really gross gum. But yes, I'm totally an 80s kid. Oh, yeah, Jamie and I are the same age. So 80s kids, we knew all about fruit stripes, gum, and all that fun stuff. I'm going to ink aquamarine up again because I feel like I didn't do a very good job of getting a very good impression. Great thing about the Misty, being able to ink things up a couple times. They probably do still make it. I think we have like a candy shop here in Minnesota. It's like this huge candy shop, and they have all of those like older, more obscure things. So they probably do still manufacture it on a small, like on a very small quantity. Okay, we are at our final set of stripes here, friends. So let's line up these last ones. Well, that's not the right one. There we go. Okay. And for the final rainbow color, we are going to use Candy Violet. You were allergic to sugar when you were a kid, Heather? Oh, that is terrible. Fun fact, I was allergic to chocolate and peanut butter as a kid, so, and I'm still allergic to wheat, so that's real fun, especially when you grew up in the 80s and there weren't all of the great wheat-free options that are available now. But oh my goodness, I could not imagine having been allergic to sugar my entire childhood. Wow. Okay. All right, final layer, Candy Violet. Okay. So what we found finally is mostly, as long as it was made from like more of like a white wheat versus like a whole grain wheat, I could stomach it a little better. So I was able to eat pizza. Okay. So there is our rainbow stripes. I am going to pull this out real quick. And we are actually going to maybe put the stamp back together. Let me see if I think I want to do that. Just to show you guys what I do. Yeah, let's just do it. Let's just take a little bit of time to put it back together, because I know that that is another piece that people have asked about. And you don't have to be like real perfect at this. Like just start getting them back in their frame. I did actually grow out of being allergic to both chocolate and peanut butter, and I like them, but I don't have to have either. So that's an interesting thing. Okay, and I'm just putting these back in line so that I don't run the risk of, messing the pieces up and getting them out of order, because they do have an order. I think for future pop-out stamps, we are going to consider adding like numbers to them. Okay, now I do feel like I've got it. Oh, that's what it is. Found it. There we go. It just needs to be tapped in there. But you could certainly actually number these yourself as well. So you could take a white gel pen or a white paint, like a fine white paint marker, and number them so you know which order they go in. So that's always a good tip. I haven't done that yet. I just try to keep them in order when I'm using them. And so this is where it gets a little bit trickier, but the great thing about that frame is it's flexible, so you can pull on it and get those last little final pieces in there, and then tap it back into place, and it is ready to be used the next time. So just an easy little tidbit. And then I'm not going to make a mess of stripes absolutely everywhere. Okay, so we have that initial layer done. So we are going to also stamp one more thing. I'm actually going to put my bigger Misty away because I don't really need it. I can switch over to my mini Misty, which is a little bit easier to keep on screen. And so this is actually a design idea that I got from Dee last year for a card that she made last year. And we are going to create that on our card today with, just gotta grab it, sorry guys, with the Charming Floral Wreath stamp set. So this is a layering stamp set, and as you can see on the back, you can do these great stamped layered pieces. But then there's also this great outline, which is perfect for watercoloring or alcohol marker coloring, colored pencils, anything. But when you are wanting to do something that's maybe a little bit quicker, doesn't take as much time, I really loved, I saw Dee stamp this in rainbow order, and I really, really loved how it turned out. So we are going to do that today because I thought that it kind of coordinated perfectly with my card for today. So let's go ahead and do that next. Okay, so I have the cute little wreath section up here in my Misty. Fruity Pebbles coffee creamer? Interesting. I don't know if I could drink that. I might be a little behind on the comments, but that's quite interesting. Okay, so I know that I want to start this one. The initial one is going to be the first 4 colors that I used. So I'm going to start with Coral Reef. So I'm going to use the ink cubes for this. You could 100% use the full-size ink pads if that's what you have. I'm going to use the cubes so it's a little bit easier to have control over what I'm doing. So we're going to start with Coral Reef, and we're just going to ink up about the first 1/4 of the stamp. And then we're going to move on over to Candy Apple, and we're going to ink up the next portion, and then Clementine. And I am kind of overlapping the last color a little bit just to get a good gradation between the colors in there. And then at the end, I always typically add a little bit more Coral Reef because it is so light compared to that Candy Apple. Okay, so then we're gonna stamp that, and it looks so pretty. I don't know if the color gradation shows up as well on video, but it looks great in real life. Okay, so we're gonna get that guy wiped down, and I'm just gonna go ahead and flip my cardstock over, and then I know that it will have enough room. So then up next, we are going to do purple, but I'm gonna actually start with purple and go out because I want these ones to go the opposite way. And that will make more sense when we are assembling this card. Okay. Just catching up a little bit on comments. So this one, because it's only 3 colors, I ink up about 1/3 of the stamp and just do the same exact thing that I did for the last stamped piece, and finish off with the green. And I feel like the aqua got a little covered up. There we go. Perfect. Okay. And there is the other set of the wreath. all in pretty rainbow colors. A lot of talk about coffee creamer going on. What's the tool named you use for stamping called? Are you talking about the Misty? It is a stamping platform, and I think you can get them at pretty much most online retailers that I know of, like scrapbook.com, Ellen Hudson, Simon Says Stamp, lots of places. And then actually you can also get them on their website at My Sweet Petunia. Hopefully that's what you were asking about for the stamping tool anyway. Okay, let's go ahead and put this guy away. And we just need to die cut these pieces out. So there's a few dies for this stamp set because these can arrange into a full-size wreath, which we have the 4, and then of course the option for cutting both the top and the bottom for either the outline or the stamp layered version. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and die cut one side out first, and then we'll die cut the other. You just make sure I'm getting them lined up well. Yeah, stamping platforms are definitely a game changer, making it so you can stamp an image twice if you don't get a very good impression the first time around. Lots of really great features like that. Okay, I'm about to die cut, so it might get a little loud. Okay, got that first one cut out, and it's super cute. And I've always noticed that sometimes the Gemini has really good pressure. So sometimes the tape sticks down really well to your cardstock. But it's better than it's sliding, I guess, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and line up that second one. Because this die doesn't match with the image that I stamped. This die only matches with the stamp layering portion of this stamp set, not the outline. Okay. All right, one more pass through the Gemini real quick. Okay. And there we have the next one. Okay, let me just do a little cleanup here real quick. Get some of this put away. Yes, Jackie, I agree. The invention of platforms definitely opened up our industry a lot. It would honestly be really hard to even use some of the stamps we're showcasing today without them. Okay, so while we're here, let's go ahead and cut this guy out with our largest diagonal stitched rectangle. And like I mentioned, that tiny little notch is just going to get cut off. So it was fairly inconsequential. I keep saying that word. Maybe that's my word for the day, friends. Okay. So let's tape that down. And I did notice that my purple stripe got a little wonky. I'm assuming that was just owner operator error. But it's going to be covered up for the most part, so I'm not really worried about it. All right, one more pass through die cut machine. Glenda is asking about what is everyone's favorite die cut machine. I really enjoy the Gemini because it's electronic. And so that allows, you know, I don't have to crank it, and just saves my joints and stuff from that cranking method because, you know, I create a lot of stuff. I also have a Spellbinders Platinum 6 for using with my hot foil, my Glimmer hot foil machine. And also for, you know, when we can actually craft together in person, taking, you know, to craft nights or retreats and stuff like that, you know, places that I maybe don't want to have to haul my big, you know, my electronic Gemini around. So those are those are mine. So you don't see it on camera, but the thing I'm cutting out with is the Gemini Junior, which is probably what you heard. I'm unsure if Zoom muted that or not. So that's likely what you heard. Okay, so in this next section, I have pre-done a bit of stuff just to help with time. So up first, I took the diagonal stitched rectangles, the slim version, and the slim braided circles panel, and I die cut it and then trimmed it down to fit an A2 card. Cindy is asking, do I use a Gemini or a Gemini Junior? I use a Gemini Junior right now, but I'm actually contemplating getting the bigger Gemini to allow me to cut 2 slimline dies at a time. But I do have the Junior right now. And so as you can see, my purple stripe got a little wonky, but you can't even tell now that when this piece is going to be over it. So, but I wanted to actually show you guys something, because as I was planning this card out, I had a basic idea, and I took some, actually I want the stripes to be this way, and I have a basic design idea. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a minute. But I knew that I wanted to stamp a little sentiment down here. But as you can see, I've already put foam tape on the back of this. So I want to show you guys a little tip that I have for if you have accidentally put foam tape on your cardstock piece, but you also still want to stamp to it. So it doesn't have to be your mini Misty, but I'm going to show on my mini Misty because it's just a little bit easier to show on camera this way. So take your foam pad or your mouse pad out of your Misty. And then I went ahead and took one of the paper pads that come with the Misties. And basically I found what thickness I needed it to be for when I have foam tape on something. So just measure the foam tape that you use normally, or, you know, create something or grab a piece of cardstock and put the foam tape on it that you typically use. And then what you want to do is just remove paper until your cardstock or paper or whatever it is you're going to stamp to fits perfectly where you want the stamp to where you want the stamp to meet it. So the way that you know that, so grab your stamp. I'm going to use this tiny little sentiment from the Charming Floral Weave stamp set, and I am going to line it up. Whoa, knocking things over. Right down here in between those 2 circles on the right. Just do a little work lining those up, making sure they're nice and straight. I'll check it in the Misty to make sure it's straight. And so basically what you want to see is that it's actually physically touching the paper. So don't stamp it yet. Make sure that when you put it down, you physically see it touching the paper, but you're not putting too much pressure on it. So that is how, yeah, I think you guys saw my magnets kind of clipped together. I caught them in time, but yeah, magnets can break very easily. So I totally get that, friends. I'm thankful that mine did not do that. Okay, so then I'm going to stamp this little teeny sentiment in some detail black ink. This is a tiny, tiny sentiment, you guys. So you are going to want to very lightly ink it up and very lightly stamp it. Oops, I didn't quite get it all. And I'm gonna have to do it again and maybe apply a little bit more pressure. I might have needed to remove one less sheet from this misty panel. We'll get there. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna make this work. Of course, it doesn't work the one time I do it live, and it's worked every time in the past. Okay, one other thing you can do if you just can't get it to. Okay, this is brave, but take this out. So obviously I needed to not have removed as many sheets. Put this guy back in. This is super brave, and I know it is, but I know that I butted that up against the edge here. So just go ahead and do it again. But this time you want to be really light because I put the foam pad back in, which means the stamp is going to hit the paper really quickly. And it just did not work. Shoot. Okay. Well, when all else fails, we're going to stamp it to another piece of cardstock. I thought I was giving you guys a great tip. And of course, then it ended up not working. So it is what it is. I promise it has worked in the past for me. So, but apparently I had just removed a few too many sheets of paper for that foam tape. I think I actually had measured that one for my 3M foam tape, and that was not 3M foam tape. So that therein lies my demise with that. So when in doubt, stamp it to another piece of cardstock. So this is how you know, this is, so if you ever see like a random strip with a sentiment that probably technically could have been stamped directly, but you see that I have created a strip out of it, I'm likely covering up a mistake. There we go. Perfect. All right. So gotta love live crafting. It's totally fine though. I'm just showing all my mistakes today. So just goes to show that none of us are perfect in our crafting woes. So then we have a nicely perfect stamp sentiment there. I'm going to trim it down into a strip and we will call it good. And it will still look great. And I've saved a project. I don't have to redo any die cutting or anything. So the lesson learned here is make sure you are using the same foam tape that you measured your paper pad for. That will be much more successful. So I will trim this down and we'll put it right over the top, and you'd never know that I made a little mistake there. Okay, I think it's time that we go ahead and start getting this card put together. So we have our rainbow panel. I have created a full sheet of adhesive here. This is just white craft foam that I've trimmed down to fit the back of an A2 panel perfectly, and then covered it in 5-inch score tape. This is the easiest way I found to make sure you get adhesive over the entire panel and you don't get any weird indentations in it. Kathy, I could have if it didn't have foam tape on it, but I can't do that on the other side because it's already all ready to be adhered to the card. There we go. That's the way I want it. Okay. The only thing that I'm going to say about my method here is be confident in where you're putting it, because you cannot pull up score tape once it's adhered down. Okay, so then we're going to go ahead and take the release paper off the back of my braided circle die. I was losing my train of thought there. And we will fix my little mistake here when we go to put the rest of the pieces on. And nobody will ever be the wiser knowing that I made that little mistake. Okay, so we want to line this up. I made it this braided circle panel. It goes edge to edge with the card just for some added dimension. So I just want to make sure I line it up nice and straight. And then you see you'll get those two beautiful diagonal stitched edges butted up right next to each other. Just some nice little added texture. Okay, so here comes the fun part with those rainbow pieces that I stamped. So we are going to stamp them and arrange them on each side. And I did them opposite. I just thought that would look kind of cool to give the color some gradation. But I want that one on top. There we go. And we are going to arrange those just on the sides. They cover up most of the circle on the sides, but that's okay. Oh, thank you, Teresa. I appreciate that. Okay. You know, I thought I was gonna love the two together, but I think I maybe just might stick with the one. I'm not completely sure. No, I actually like the two. Okay. Gotta love when you're creating live and you are making decisions at the last minute. Okay. So the nice thing about having the two is they're not really meant to be seen. It's just about having a little bit of extra dimension. So I'm going to grab them here at the edge, and we're just going to take some liquid adhesive and I'm going to glue them together right there. And then just add dot some liquid glue onto the back of them and place them down like that. And I might add just a little dot of glue right under there for that piece. I don't want to add too much glue underneath it because I want it to keep some natural separation from the piece that's underneath it. Probably doesn't show up in video anyway, but just so you know. Okay, let's get them glued together. Get a little bit of liquid glue on the back there. Okay. Oh, I want to arrange those a little closer than they are. There we go. And I just love the little bit of added gradation that you get by adding the two layers in there. Okay. Okay, so I pre-cut the word hello from some gold pearl foil paper. And I stacked it. So I cut it once from the gold foil paper, twice from 130-pound white cardstock, and stacked them together. And we are just going to adhere it kind of at a slight angle to the card. So it looks like I only need to add glue to the H and the O to help keep it down. Well, thanks, guys. I'm glad you're liking this. And thanks for, you know, hanging out with me bearing with me while I kind of made a couple mistakes as I went today. Like I said, not a big deal. We all make mistakes. And crafting is definitely a process. This is definitely not a highly curated process video. All right, so we've got that beautiful stem at an angle. And then the perfect part is some of those leaves overlapped that sentiment anyway, so I probably would have had to redo it anyway. So I am just gonna cut the edges off the side of this and grab a little bit of foam adhesive and pop it up. And you will never know that I did a terrible job of stamping that to a piece of cardstock with foam tape on it. Okay, so I've got some little pieces here that, some leftovers that I can use. Oh, they would make a really nice Easter card, a very colorful Easter card. And yeah, that's a great idea. You know, Easter doesn't always have to just be yellow. And does anybody feel like that? Like, I feel like I'm always drawn to using like yellows and stuff for Easter. And you definitely can use these vibrant, beautiful colors as well. I might have to give that a try. Do I worry about the hello bending in the mail? Not really. But if you are, you could actually use some of this thin foam tape that I'm using and just put them on the back of the L's, and that would hold them a little bit more in place. I tend to send cards and stuff in, this is me, this is just me. I tend to send cards in packages or in a padded mailer. So I don't worry as much about that, but definitely an easy fix. Just add a little bit of thin foam tape behind the L's and that will keep them in place. Oh, that's a good one, Maggie. I agree with that. We all make mistakes. And hopefully I helped you learn some ways to come back from those mistakes. Okay, we are almost done. Let's just go ahead and add a little bit of shine to the card. And I actually think I like the sentiment popped up better anyway. So it all works out in the end, which is awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna use these cute little crystals. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna start over here. And I think I'm going to do, I'm not gonna do 4. So I'm gonna skip yellow. I am gonna do orange, pink, or excuse me, red, and pink. And we're just gonna do little ones, these little teeny guys here. And I'm just gonna finish off at the end of the floral wreath piece. And we're just gonna put a couple of cute little crystals to accent at the end of it. So we've got our first set. So let's go ahead and get those ones glued down first. Just gotta find my jewel picker here. Maybe. Where did my jewel picker go? Oh, we'll just, oh, here it is. Okay, I wanna arrange them a little closer, a little more rounded. Are you talking about the jewels or the crystals? Because I think the crystals are in stock. It's the jewels that are out of stock. And I don't have the exact date. They are on reorder, but I don't know the exact date of when they will be restocked. Okay, so there are those ones. And so then over here, we're going to do green and kind of this aqua shade and purple. And I am almost finished and we will get the winner chosen and you guys can be on with your days. This one I arranged apparently a little bit closer than I did the other one. That's okay. It will work. We'll just tuck it in a little closer.
Okay. I should put those away or I will totally, I do. So the crystals are diamond shaped, Carol. And my camera will never focus on this, but they're diamond shaped. So I just glue them on their top so that the pointy bottom sticks out. So they're great for using in shakers as diamond pieces, but they also accent cards really pretty, and they give just that nice, vibrant, clear look to the jewel or to the accent. Okay. Alrighty. So we made it through. And there is our fun rainbow card for today. Okay, I am going to get the camera turned around real quick and hopefully I won't miss seeing who the winner is. So let me get this flipped back around to me. Okay, we have made it through my card, mistakes and all, but that's part of crafting. It's handmade, not Hallmark, and mistakes happen and we get through it and we figure out how to fix it. Okay, so, oh, thank you, Valerie. I appreciate that. Thank you guys so much for your lovely comments and your support as I kind of worked my way through little mistakes here and there. So, and I promise that Misty trick does work as long as you have used the correct form or foam tape that you measured for. So that was definitely my fault. Okay, so that is everything I have for you guys today. Thanks, Jamie. I appreciate it. Nice for your nice comment. Oh, and it looks like we have our winner. Today's winner is Lori Cohen. Congratulations on winning. So you want to claim your prize by emailing me, which is leah@pinkfreshstudio.com, and there's no H on my name, so it's just LEA. And just give me a couple of days, 2 or 3 days to reply, because I do get, a bit of emails, so I can't always get right to your email. So congratulations. Enjoy your $15 to spend on whatever you please in the Pinkfresh Studio shop. And I hope you guys enjoyed my card today. And hopefully you guys will give it a try with your stamps and dies. Be sure to share your project with us if you do. Okay. Someone's asking about triangle pop-outs. I don't think are you asking for us to consider doing triangle pop-outs, or we don't have triangles, we have squares or diamonds. So if it's something you're thinking of, we can pass it along. Okay, all right, guys, I'm gonna let you go. I went a little bit over, so I'm going to let you go, but I hope you guys have a wonderful Tuesday. And don't forget to join us on Thursday at 12 noon Central Standard Time on Facebook Live with Heather.